Right then, Year 7, welcome to the isometric lettering tutorial, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create yourselves a series of standardized letters using isometric drawing, which is drawn at 30 degrees for each one. So first of all, you need to identify your name that you're going to be doing. Now my surname is Morris, M-O-R-R-I-S. Then you need to identify how many of those characters are repeats. So in Morris, I've got R repeated twice. Therefore, I only need to do 4 letters. Okay, so 5 letters in my name, but I'll only need to practice M-O-R-I-S. So I'll just show you this previous example from one that was done in another class. You can see there, that is what we're kind of aiming for by the end of this lesson. And then some of you might even be able to render that in using 3 levels of tone, dark, medium, and light. So let's go back to my original example. So from my name, I now need to know that I need to do 4 letters in total. I need to practice those. So I'm going to use a crating technique. A crating technique is where you draw the outline of the box first and then draw your letter inside each one. So 4 letters I'm doing, so I've drawn 4 crated boxes. Now these boxes, Year 7, are dimensioned, and they are dimensioned at 50 millimeters for length. So I'm going to write that in as 50. And over here it's 30 millimeters for width, which is 30 down there, and over here is 10 millimeters for depth. So each one is at those dimensions, and if I was doing this properly, folks, I'd also have my extension lines drawn with a ruler that just extend from the side and then extend over there, just so I can properly dimension each one. So I'm going to start over here with M. Now with an M, I'll always go for the front fascias first, which are over here. So loosely sketch that in, very, very lightly. Do not press on hard, you don't want any definite marks at this moment in time. So there is my M shape. Then once I'm happy with it, I'm going to then go over. Please make sure your letter, where possible, is symmetrical on both sides, otherwise it will not look accurate when it comes to doing your final piece. And again, check my channel because you'll see all the examples of graded final pieces there. So there is the M. Because it's 3D, I need to take this line over at 30 degrees, this line over at 30 degrees, and when I've got time, rub out some of these crating marks which I don't need anymore. Probably the most simple letter to do is the next one, which is an O. So all I'll do is I'll leave a 30 by 10 space in the middle of my O, putting the extension line on there, and that concludes my O. R is a little bit more complicated. Again, map it on the front fascia. So an R shape should look like this. So block that in. So I know I need that over there. I'm probably going to need a diagonal line coming for the R up there. I'm going to take that out, probably curve that edge, round the edge, and then there's going to be a gap in the middle, which is probably going to be half a square. I've sketched that in, so let's firm it up with a lot of darker, more definite lines. So taking my ruler over to the side, taking my ruler over to the side, and again inside the R there, adding in a small indent, adding that over there, and adding that up and curving it round. This bit over here, as it comes down to the bottom's going from there, so I need an R there, and I can add that in, and another line that goes up there. And then finally, I'm going to add in my R, I, and then an S at the bottom. So an I like to keep my eyes quite straightforward, so almost like a T shape at the top and a T shape at the bottom, and that concludes my I. I'm just loosely popping these in, and again, you've got a bit more time to get those on. And then finally for my S, once again, making sure I'm creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the bottom, 3 across, 10 deep. Just going there, just mixing there between centimeters and millimeters, taking that down to the side and over, and then down and down, and that's my crate. S is probably going to be one of your more complicated ones, so I'm going to pop my S shape like that, and let's see how I do. So straight line there, straight line at the top. I'm going to connect with a diagonal down at the front, diagonal down at the front on there. We'll probably take that up further like that. There we go. And then take that to the side, sketch that in, and again go over with a ruler and neaten up all the edges. So that concludes my tutorial on the isometric letters. Once you've concluded all that, choose where you're going to shade in, choose your direction of light. If the light was coming up over here, I'd use 3 tones. There's my dark, there's my mid, and there's my light. Shading one direction, nice and neat. So at the top there, probably with a pencil and a ruler, preferably to keep your directions nice and neat. Shade the top. And of course round here is going to be really dark, and you'll get that lovely contrast between the dark and light tones. You have a bit of light travelling in here, so again that's going to be your mid, and so on and so forth. Make sure your rendering is nice and neat, and then you can finish that off this lesson. And that concludes our time together. Thank you very much, Year 7.